Today is praise report day. Mark chapter 11. If you have not seen that video, go back and watch it. Just go back and watch Mark chapter 11. I'll link it in the description. I'll put a link to that video in the description. And if you're watching on desktop, I'll link it right now, right here. I'll put it right there. So when I did Mark chapter 11, it was called Trust God. And in that video, I talked about how my car had died, my van had died, and then my wife's car died like right after that. And we ended up a family of 5 people, 3 boys that are in school, a wife that works 30 minutes away from where we live, and we had no car at all. And what I said in that video is I said, I'm just gonna trust God and keep walking. I'm gonna keep living. I'm gonna keep doing. I'm gonna keep praying. I'm gonna keep preaching. I'm gonna keep doing ministry. I'm gonna keep visiting the sick. I'm gonna keep doing everything that I would do if I had a car. I'm gonna do it without a car. If I gotta take the bus, I gotta take the bus. If I gotta get a ride, I gotta get a ride. My wife has been riding to work with someone else for, I wanna say months, for a couple months. And here's the deal. Let me, before I give you the full praise report, let me give you the complete, my wife helped a friend of hers that goes to our church that sings in my wife's choir that she directs. My wife helped her get a job at her work when she still had a car. And then when her car broke down and she needed to get to work, not only does her friend that's in her choir live close enough to us to drop by our house on the way every single day of the week and pick my wife up and take her all the way 30 minutes away to work. They work in the same department. They have the same work schedule. It's almost like God preemptively knew we were gonna have a need, so he provided for our need before we even had it. Number 2, I think you guys know we were basically gifted I don't want to say the make and model and all that stuff, but basically I was at a meeting at my church. I announced that my wife and I didn't have a car, but that everybody was offering me rides, and I was so thankful. And then after that meeting, somebody walked up to me and said, "You need a car?" And I was like, "Yes." "Are you joking?" And that night, I went to this lady's house from our church and picked up a car. It was an older model car. I picked it up, and we've been driving it ever since. That was probably 2 months ago. We started driving that car. Now, it became basically my car because I had the kids, and it had enough seats for me and the boys to drive around. So I've been using that car. My wife's still been riding with her friend, basically not having a car. And then our apartments last week tells us that our rent is going up like $200. And we're like, well, we can't afford that. We got to move. And my wife is like, how are we going to move and buy a car? We're borrowing a car right now that we think we're going to be able to keep, but we don't know for sure. And how are we going to do all of this in the next couple of months? And when I tell you guys that God is ridiculous, God is ridiculous. God is just silly. He just made me laugh today. When I get to church, and my wife was texting me, and she was like, "Hey, I have something crazy to tell you." And I was like, "Okay." And she was like, "Have you been at church?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I had to leave to go drop off the boys, and I'm coming back." And she was like, "Okay, I can't wait to tell you." And I'm like, "What is it?" And she wouldn't tell me. I get to church, and my wife tells me that one of the women in our church walked up to her and said, "Hey, I can't say who, but somebody wants to give you guys a car." And it's like, wait, somebody gave us a car. And this person, they looked at that car and they said, "You guys need a bigger car. You're a bigger family. You need a bigger vehicle, and you need 2 cars. You're a 5-person family. You need 2 cars." We are about to have 2 vehicles. We're about to both be driving 2 in great condition vehicles that we did not pay for. And I know that there's some of you out there that have been begging for a car. You've been praying, you've been begging. All I'm doing is sharing the goodness of God with you. I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to boast on anything or anyone but God and God alone. And I love in the 12th chapter or 13th chapter of John, I love how Jesus, after he washes their feet, and the disciples are astounded. They're like, "What? Why is Jesus washing our feet?" And he says, "You know what? What I do, you go and do the same thing for others. What I do for you, you go and do the same thing for others. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay it forward. I'm going to continue to be extremely gracious and merciful and kind to people that serve me at a restaurant, at the gas station, wherever I go and whatever I'm doing. I'm going to abundantly bless people because I have been abundantly blessed. And I just had to share that awesome story with you guys. I'm kind of on cloud 9. You know, when the lady came up to me and talked to me after my wife, I literally didn't know how to respond to her. And I had to text her later and say, look, I was in shock. I didn't know how to respond. I still don't know how to respond. We don't know exactly who is even doing this. But, oh, I didn't even tell you this, and this is what I'll close with because I know the video is getting long. Not only is she giving us the car, she's paying for an entire year of liability insurance on the vehicle so that we don't have to pay for it. And the title's gonna go in my name. This is crazy. If you guys have some ridiculous stories of how you've been ridiculously blessed by God, put them in the comments. I want to hear about it. Let's share. Let's be open and let's share about the ridiculous blessings that God has bestowed on us. I'll see you guys tomorrow for John chapter 14. Peace.